guys, today we're working on somebody very special's guitar. This is my good friend and cohort Joey Greco's Carvin made in USA Strat style guitar, and he brought it when we were doing some demos the other day, and there are a few things that need to be done on the guitar. It needs to be cleaned up and set up, and frets need to be polished and buffed, and the neck needs to be cleaned and oiled. So I'm going to do an overall setup on this guitar. I noticed that the volume pot was loose in its thing and the switch was kind of dirty, so we're going to open it up, clean it, change the strings, set it up, make it all beautiful for our beautiful friend, and I'm going to take you guys along with me. My trusty Dean Markley Turbo Tune drill attachment, very handy. Cut. Sometimes they make you struggle. I'm noticing right now that this is definitely the wrong way to string up a guitar. All this whine and overlap stuff is not necessary when you have enough correctly done winds, especially on a hardtail. Hardtail meaning that this guitar has no trem on it, so it's a hardtail string through body, which is super cool. Great for sustain and tone. Picking up the keys. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the neck first and then oil it, give it a chance to dry while I do the rest of the work. Regular rubbing alcohol on a toothbrush. Now, the frets on this guitar are still in really good shape. There's no fret damage or super wear. So I'm going to give it a light up and down, super light 0000 steel wool, just to polish them a bit. When you do this, you want to cover the magnetic pickups because they like to pick up all the little metal shards that come off of the steel wool. So just so we don't have any excess stuff sticking to the pickups, we'll do that. Take your light steel wool, and this is the way I personally do it. Just lightly above the neck. Okay, cool. Then after I get all the electronics fixed up and everything tested, then I'll give the guitar another overall clean. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this tape off. Some circa 1850 lemon oil. So these volume tone knobs are held on by an Allen key. So I'm not going to get into what size it is. They're different with pretty much all of them. So that you'll have to discover on your own. Pop that off. Looks like there are decent, good quality CTS pots on here. This one's tight. Make sure the switches are tight. So if you're not going to take the pick guard off, what you're going to want to do is hold the tip of the pot, open up your wrench, and tighten counter to you holding it so that it doesn't spin. Just until it's tight. It doesn't have to be tight to a point where you almost break it. Pop that back on there. I'm going to go ahead and pop the output jack plate off, because I noticed when I tried it yesterday that it seemed a little bit scratchy and loose. I'm going to take my steel wool and clean the contact point off. Make sure it's tight. It's back in. Clean microfiber cloth. Clean, important, you know. You want it free from any objects, you know, shards of metal or shards of wood, little dab of alcohol. And I'm a strong believer that a little bit of rubbing alcohol or Windex is more than enough to clean your guitar. You know, some people like buffing and polishing and use that stuff, but you know, $1.99 at your local dollar store gets you a full bottle of rubbing alcohol, and it way does the trick all the time. Wipe off any of the excess oils. Such a beautiful feeling neck on this guitar. Super low profile. Beautiful big frets. Okay, and from what I understand, Joey has decided that he wants to use the EXL 140s made by D'Addario, which is a 10 to 52. So light top, heavy bottom. 52 is pretty big for an electric guitar string. I mean, not as big as some players use, but this is what he has selected for this particular guitar. As I've explained in some previous episodes of this kind of thing, I basically pull the string through, pull it up to about 2.5 inches away from the key, hold it down, get it to a point of tension, leave it like that. What I like to do when you don't have any retainers after a headstock with a bit of a degree or a curve backwards is add more winds to these strings to pull them down a little more evenly. So you'll notice that the E string has 2 winds, the A string has 3 winds, and so on. excess, and it's okay to get it as close as you possibly can. The string's got so many winds that it's not going to go anywhere. I don't know about you guys, but I love me some snark tuner. Best little invention ever. So what I like to do, tune the guitar. You tune the guitar up, let the neck settle in. We're using bigger strings than you had on it before, so there might be some neck adjustments to do and also some intonation adjustments to do, which I'm going to check quickly to make sure. But basically what I do is I'll tune the guitar up, let the neck settle a bit, and then commence to starting to stretch the strings. So I place my thumb on the fretboard, my 3 fingers under the string, and pull up and down a few times like this for every string. And as you get to the smaller strings, you want to go a little bit easier because they're more sensitive, obviously, and some have a tendency to break, so you go a little bit more gentle. Tune it back up to pitch. And you repeat that process several times until your strings have been stretched enough that they're not going out of tune anymore. It really varies depending on guitar, scale length, and string brand. So this particular headstock adjustment has a Gibson style nut on it, and they come with different sizes. Luckily, I believe I do have the right size for this particular one. So basically just a half a turn will bring this neck back to almost straight, just a tiny bit of relief. You let that settle before you put the cap back on, check everything, make sure that it's how you like it. Now, as far as intonation goes, the way I personally do this is, what you want to do is you want to relieve any additional weight or tension on the neck. So I'm going to take this off, put it off to the side so the headstock is clear. So there's no additional pressure on the neck. It is what it is. You pick your 12th fret harmonic of the string, tune it. Then press, not too heavy, not too light. So it's a bit sharp. So I'm going to back the string off a bit. So what I'm going to do is back the E string off a bit and bring the E saddle backwards. So if you're sharp, you go backwards. If you're flat, you go forwards. Try it again. Perfect. Beautiful. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please click subscribe, like, and share this video. We'll bring you a bunch more cool stuff.